Come, let us find our meditation teacher. Take action now. Together as a team, let us relaxingly recite. With so many lamas and authors offering to teach us how to meditate, often for a substantial fee, how are we to know upon which teacher or technique we should rely? Should we rely upon the teacher with the greatest beauty, fame, popularity, acclaim, wealth, resume, credentials, or letters of recommendation? No, no, and no. The proof of the pudding is in the tasting, and we test the effectiveness of a teacher's guidance in the laboratory of our body and mind. Here's how. First, we find a teacher, regardless of gender, age, or nationality, and request instruction. We then enthusiastically practice the technique we are given for at least 5 minutes, once every 12 hours or so, for 7 consecutive days. Note, if we're not up to the task of practicing thusly, then the selection of a teacher is simply not our biggest problem. After the conclusion of the second practice of the 7th day, we vulnerably gaze within and ask, has this week of practice increased my peace and love? Good evening, Shibi. If yes, then Mazel Tov, you've found a teacher from whom you could benefit. If not, then follow up with that teacher. If they won't or can't help you, then to hell with them. Find a better teacher for you at this time. No, the test of a teacher's wisdom is not whether their teachings match with your preconceptions. Such a metric will only ensure we'll never grow beyond where we are at now. And for goodness sake, let us not put ourselves in the hands of a greedy fool who will sell us the Buddha's teachings. For although optional donations could be lovely, the greatest offering we could make is simply the enthusiastic application of teachers' instructions. If we wish to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha, be he real or merely archetypical, then we must bring a scientist's curiosity and enthusiasm to be methodical in our spiritual journey. If it sounds inconvenient and maybe even a little scary, there is probably a very good reason for that, but is it worth the inconvenience? The Buddha thought so. This is why Gautama devoted his talents and time to teaching mindfulness and meditation. Whoops. Together, let us shift. Having completed our opening lesson, it's time for us to shift gears. It is Ahsoka Tano Thursday evening. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I used my autistic special interests and my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. What I'd like to do is turn to the latest iteration of our practice text. Please relaxingly recite with me. Whatever comes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. This is not a prayer to a real or imagined entity. This is just a tool we use to guide our intention. Together, whatever stays, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Whatever goes, may all beings notice, relax, and flow. Nothing like ignited dust to really give your throat that special tickle. So, let's try this again. Upon the tip of our left index finger, we could rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so, we could gently invite a real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the crown area of our head. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we have our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord, has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you would agree is the opposite of the rigidity of concentration. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord, evolved to support both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Therefore, during each inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite noticing. And during each exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite relaxing. Remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. I'm going to take a moment to swap out texts. Let's see. You know, if it was clever, I would probably just have a button for each text. Perhaps that's a future project. Let's click... Right, this is what I want. Okay. That's really weird. What's going on here? Ah, okay. That'll work. Perfect. Okay. Welcome to the Dhammapadas, Sayings of the Buddha, translated by Thomas Byroom, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Let us relaxingly recite. We are what we think. All that we are could arise with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we could make the world. Speak or act with an impure mind, and trouble could follow you as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. We are what we think. All that we are could arise with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we could make the world. Speak or act with a pure mind, and happiness could follow you as your shadow, unshakable. Look how he abused me and beat me, how he threw me down and robbed me. Live with such thoughts, and you live in hate. Look how he abused me and beat me, how he threw me down and robbed me. Abandon such thoughts and live in love. In this world, hate never dispelled hate. Only love dispels hate. This is the way, ancient and inexhaustible. You too shall pass away. Knowing this, how can you quarrel? This is a good place to stop. Upon the tip of our left middle finger, we could rest the great knuckle of our right middle finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so, we gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. With each inhalation, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception. You know, sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. With each exhalation, our parasympathetic nervous system helps us to physically relax and mentally release. During each inhalation, let us therefore silently and mentally recite noticing, and during each exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite relaxing. Together, let us relaxingly recite. How easily the wind overturns a frail tree. Seek happiness in the senses, indulge in food and sleep, and you too could be uprooted. The wind cannot overturn a mountain, temptation cannot overturn the man who is awake, strong, and humble, who masters himself and follows the way. If a man's thoughts are muddy, if he is reckless and full of deceit, how can he wear the ochre robe? Whoever is master of his own nature, bright, clear, and true, may he indeed wear the ochre robe. Whoever has mastered his Buddha nature, bright, clear, and true, he may indeed wear the ochre robe. Of course, it would be helpful if I explained what Buddha nature was. Buddha nature is just a delightful Iron Age way of referring to the three neurological structures in our central nervous system that make enlightenment possible. They are the sympathetic nervous system that supports mindfulness, the parasympathetic nervous system that supports meditation, and the anterior cingulate gyrus, which supports empathy. The majority of every healthy human being has all these three things. When we've mastered them, we're able to cooperate with them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. So, ochre robe could be looked at as two ways. The monastic robe of everyone, or the teacher's shawl. I think here this could be best described as the teacher's shawl. Let's continue. Mistaking the false for the true and the true for the false, you overlook the heart and fill yourself with desire. See the false as false, the true as true. Look into your heart and follow your Buddha nature. An unreflecting mind is a poor roof. Passion like the rain floods the house. But if the roof is strong, there is shelter. Whoever follows impure thoughts suffers in this world and the next. In both worlds he suffers, and how greatly when he sees the wrong he has done. But whoever follows, but whoever follows the way is joyful here and joyful there. In both worlds he rejoices, and how greatly when he sees the good he has done. For great is the harvest in this world, and greater still in the next. Upon the tip of our left ring finger, may we rest, that's kind of a tongue twister, may we rest the knuckle, the great knuckle of the base of our right ring finger, palms up in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Every time we inhale, our sympathetic nervous system helps us to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics, such as perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. With each exhalation, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release. With each inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite noticing. With each exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite relaxing. And remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. However many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do you if you do not act upon them? Are you a shepherd who counts another man's sheep, never sharing the way? Read as few words as you like, and speak fewer, but act in accord with the way. Give up the old ways, passion, resentment, folly. Know the truth and find peace. Share the way. Upon the tip of our left little finger, we could rest the great knuckle. At the base of the right little finger, palms up, in our lap. Doing so could gently invite our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the bladder region of our lower abdomen. With each inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice all manner of things, all manner of dualities, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. With each exhalation, we are wired to physically relax and mentally release. Therefore, with each inhalation, may we silently and mentally recite a note to sing, and with each exhalation, may we silently and mentally recite relaxing. If you've just tuned in, welcome aboard. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist recitation, Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, because most assuredly, when we're done meditating at the top of the hour, my brains will transform into tapioca. So strike now. Strike while the iron is hot. Ask the moment the question occurs to you. Oh, excuse me. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 13 hours, I would very much like to return to lead tomorrow's morning meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.